mate chita hari nanda jasho mate chita hari vela holo damodara aisa ekano vela holo damodara aisa ekano boga mandire vasi kora hoja These are the shlokas of
that we should not do.
No, they're wonderful.
Oh, we want to sing. Okay.
Gosguru, Panchatattva, Mahaprabhu, Krishna, and then goes higher and higher.
Yeah, I know these are very famous. Okay. singing this next?
Just different one.
Hmm?
I'll just put them in like that if anyone's interested. I don't know if they would be. Mukhan karoti vachalam pangang langayate girim yakripatamahang vande Sri Guru Dinataranam Mukham karoti vachalam pangang langayate girim yakripatamahang vande Sri Guru Dinataranam Pancha Sakapakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktavyam Namami Bhakta Pancha Sakapakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktavyam Namami Bhakta Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapidam Yena Bhutale Sayang Rupakaramam Bharati Sapadam Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapidam Yena Bhutale Sayang Rupakaramam Bharati Sapadam Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namaste Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Bhakti reciting.
So what, isn't that part of the pranami thing anyway?
Yeah.
Oh, you just
Just finding a way to invoke them.
Yeah, instead of just saying it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Want to sing one, Maharaj?
I was just thinking about a tune. I don't know if it's possible to do it. It's a bit complicated. It's not very complicated.
We can try.
Try.
Try. I thought it was better.
Okay.
It's more like a banjo really than a key. So don't put that on yet because I might miss it up.
Oh, okay.
I'm just testing it.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Jai Guru Deva, Jai Guru Deva, Jai Guru Deva, Jai Guru Deva,
Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva,
Guru Jai Shri Hari. Sorry, that wasn't really well. That was an old tune from the 70s, ISKCON. Hare Krishna. I had a tape of it.
I've heard that one before.
Yeah. Agni Dev used to sing it. Because it was much better when he did it. Omar Jivan, yeah. What are you doing?
One thousand, 100, sorry, 139.
It's the same as 139. Okay.
It is a bit long, that's it. It is a bit long. 139. Shigora was Shigora in the Abhibala Musa. 131. 1139.
139. I do the song Gaura Pranim, but it doesn't mean you can't do it other times, right?
Yeah.
It's not reserved only for that, I think.
Aruna Vasane Sonara Suraja Udechike
Aruna Bashane Sonara Suraja Udechike no Reaja Vashanto Shusham Ujari Apana Halekeno Jagamaja Nandula Macha Apura Bharata Mahikeno Pole Pule Vihanga Vihange Keno Eno Range Sangita Taranga Sule
Adita tu jana kenore gaujana Ula se bhakti akore Inja kula dana abhimani jana Keno milan dukkha bhore Akosha Vatasha Kuchaya Trasha Ashvashe Vashaye Aduganaman Sukha Vitaran Avashe Unmado Sodikevan Iyapura Suni Ode Krishna Ram Nama Divya Dhama Hari Hari Mahindola Rangima Sujana Bhajana Rage Sankirtana Sane Maramagane Najani ki babo jage Sandhya samagama tapana magana Kena emagana kore Chandrama Hasiya Tanilema Tenila Bilina Heme Iteki Baba Sadhu Kanagaya Alankanara Itene Sankirtana Sankirtana Gaura Chanda Joy Apara Uchaya Chandra Shava Premadana Anujana Kale Keo Kutuhale Nirima Vilina Chade Chandavatara Dukhanakara Radharuchiru Karachade Radha Bhavajuti Suvalita Shamara Udila Gaurang Nama Prema Sangha Jaya Jaya Gauraga Udila Gaurang Nama Prema Sangha Jaya Jaya Gauraga
That was great. So they really like Gaudiya Vaishnava style. Yeah. Did you learn that in India or something? Did you learn how to sing that in India?
No.
Oh. It's pretty authentic. Thought, yeah.
It was wrong actually. Going from the 2-beat to the 3-beat.
Yeah.
The changes.
Yeah, overall. Definitely 8.5 out of 10, not 9. No, sorry. Why has the Lord appeared suddenly with golden complexion and with golden dress, just like the morning sun? Why has he come in the middle of springtime, as everything feels so beautiful and wonderful?
I cannot understand why, but all the trees, plants and creepers are full of fruits and flowers, and they're making song and dance with Mahaprabhu.
I am very fallen and unqualified. Why is this sound vibration coming to me? And why am I getting inspiration from it? Those who have high caste, vast knowledge and material wealth, they have so much ego and pride. Why are they so?
The sky and the air are so beautiful in the spring season, and they are naturally nourishing and inspiring everybody. In the same way, the sound vibration of the devotees spreads everywhere, automatically, as they distribute Krishna's name.
What a remarkable sound is heard in all directions, bringing jubilation to all the people. The devotees chant the divine names Hare, Krishna, Rama, and the transcendental abode manifests. Chant Hari, Hari, Hari.
On his holy appearance day, the festival of Holi takes place. All the devotees are chanting as well as all the Hindus. No one can understand the feeling and substance that comes within the heart from that Sankirtan.
As the sunset approaches, the sun shines on the mountain, illuminating it like it has golden ornaments. This is especially so in the springtime. Then as the moon rises, it also beautifies that mountain with its rays.
The blue sky is covered by the golden moon, and when the devotees glorify the Lord with their discussions, no other conception or motive can exist other than Krishna consciousness. At that time, prema, divine love, descends automatically without any impediment.
The great devotees say, take up your spiritual path with the congregational chanting of the Lord's holy names. With the appearance of Sri Gaurachandra, all sinfulness is removed, and everyone attains the treasure of love of Godhead.
Everyone who engages in this Nam Sankirtan of Mahaprabhu comes to inquire sincerely and to know the innermost secrets of the Lord's bluish colour absorbed by his golden features. This is the hidden incarnation of the Lord and the concealed relish of his form as he is tasting the threefold relish of birth.
Thus afraid of the dark cowherd Syamasundar, who has taken the mood and effulgence of Sri Radha. That Lord Sri Chaitanya appeared, chanting with the pure divine name. Everyone chant the glories of that golden Lord Sri Chaitanya.
Joy. Yeah.
I've heard this song, on the songs of devotion and the faith,
Oh, yeah.
with Guru Maharaj singing and Sri Maharaj singing and all the devotees.
Oh, yeah.
I've never read the translation.
Right.
It's very beautiful, actually. Very, very beautiful.
Unless you want to ask, do you know how to sing this one?
Do you know how to? Well, yeah.
Do you want to do that?
Where did you get this idea to do this?
Because it was missing from the book.
Okay. And then Hare Krishna, yeah?
Yeah, it's okay, no?
Yeah. It's kind of like a Hindu one. That's what they like to do. But that's fine, you know. Perfectly bona fide, yeah. Yeah, why not? Jai Govinda, Jai Gopal, Keshav Madhava, Dinadaya, Jai Govinda, Keshavam Jai Govinda Jai Gopal Keshavam Madhava Dina Dayal Jai Govinda Dina Dayal Prabhu Dina Dayal 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 Shama Sundar Kanayula Girivardhari Nanda Dula Shama Sundar Shama Sundar Kanayula Girivardhari Nanda Dula Shama Sundar Kanayula Girivardhari Nanda Dula Prabhu Nanda Dula 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 Achyuta Keshava Shri Radha Madhava Govinda Gopala Hari Achyuta Keshava Shri Radha Madhava Govinda Gopala Hari Achyuta Keshava Shri Radha Madhava Govinda Gopala Hari Achyuta Keshava Shri Radha Madhava Govinda Gopala Hari. So now the last one goes. I've never seen that one. Then Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Yeah, it's definitely a Hindi bhajan. It's because, you know, that in the translation on 2, it's talking about Krishna, and then, yeah, and then all of a sudden it says, you who bear Lakshmi Devi on your chest. You know, it's like a little bit rasa bus. Yeah, it's okay. It's not terribly bad.
Jai Swarup, Tridandi Maharaj ki
Jai. Is this Jayadev Goswami?
Not Jayadev Goswami, no.
That's the name of
Yeah, no. Definitely not Jayadev Goswami. He wouldn't have done that. I've been commissioned by Mother Saraswati, pardon? To read this book, but okay.
Un poquito el micrófono para abajo, porque le tapa la cara.
Have you been reading the book like through or not, as such?
No.
No, okay. I'll start in chapter 3, the vision of faith. Yeah.
Maharaj,
This is
this is the first time for
Pawan.
so maybe you can just give...
Bhavan.
No.
Pawan.
Oh, Pavan.
Yeah.
Patita Pavan, like that.
So it's just maybe explaining about what you're going to read because...
Oh, yeah. Well, it's just a book that was published recently of my Guru Maharaj, you know, but in the case of some devotees, they're Param Guru, or my Guru, so, and his talks about devotional service. But they've called the title In the Light of Loving Devotion. So, the important word is loving devotion. So that's the thing. Devotion with heart, with priti, with affection. Not just a formal devotion, you know? No. So that's the path of Krishna consciousness, called Raga Marg, Raga Bhakti. And oh well, now I've got. It keeps coming open on chapter 2, so I should read that. Chapter 2 is called The Fields of Day and Night. Yeah, because it's from the first section, which is called The Call of the Soul. So you have the call of the soul, the first inspiration to go towards spiritual life. That's Sambandha, what's called Sambandha Gyan, right? And basic understanding of ourself as servants of the Lord, and as a particular part of a particular energy, expanded energy of the Lord called Tatashta Shakti, and then the Maya Shakti also, Sambandha. So that's based on that, our soul is responding to a call of the Lord. Actually, that says, there's a verse in the, I think it's St. John's Gospel, he says, we cannot approach the Lord unless the Lord first calls us. So really it's like that, you know. Some blessings, some causeless mercy, as they call it, then the soul gets the initial movement, you know, to go towards the Lord. So it's like if someone is so sick, so ill, they're unable to help themselves, they're just lying inert in a coma. At that time, then the doctor or the surgeon, they have to give some strong injection, you know, and with this they'll get some awakened Jiv Jago. And once they're awakening and they're coming to their senses, then they themselves can cooperate with the doctor. He'll say, where does it hurt? Oh, here. How do you feel? And so many things. But initially, something has to come from the divine. You know. And that's a question, again, about causeless mercy. Causeless mercy is coming to people, someone, but not to others, because it's causeless, right? But then if we look at it, we say in eternity, if time, so-called time, is eternal, and if the Lord, who's infinite, and his mercy is also infinite, then the only conclusion is that in infinite time, every jiva soul will somehow or other get the mercy of the Lord, and eventually go back to Godhead. From my understanding, anyway. So in this section, it's called the fields of day and night. And somebody asked the question, we have so many material desires, and the environment is also giving us some trouble. So sometimes we feel discouraged. How may we always maintain our enthusiasm and inspiration in spiritual life? Srila Sridhar Maharaj, if our desire for spiritual life is strong, then it may withstand so many oppositions from different conceptions, from different directions. There are so many things, desirable and undesirable. Sometimes we will be praised for our actions by a particular party, and sometimes there is some section that will discourage us, will abuse us. Everywhere this is the case, in whatever field of endeavour we work. Such remarks of different types are sure to come. So he's saying in every field, just not in spiritual life, he's talking, but it's the same in every life, like in political life. That's very obvious at the moment, of course, and at every time, and in every field of endeavour. It's like that because it's the world of duality. You know, the world of duality means the world of opposites. Good, bad, right, wrong, black, white, hot, cold, so on. Three-dimensional existence is made up of that. And the three modes of material nature. So here also in the spiritual life, it is like that. Those who can appreciate the attempt will encourage us, and those who have no faith, they will discourage. It is quite natural. You know, so of course, naturally then we say, well, okay, those who have faith, some faith, naturally it'll be best for them to associate with other people who have faith, of course, for encouragement. If you're continually moving with people of no faith, it'll be discouraging you, and that won't be helpful, of course. Birds of a feather flock together. So then we have to rely on the appreciation of the Vaishnava. Vaishnavi pratishta tate kara nishta. the opinion of the devotee, that will have value for us. The worldly people, they do not have any appreciation for the higher spiritual life, and they will naturally discourage. What are they doing? They're wasting their life running after the will-o'-the-wisp, after phantasmagoria. That will be their remark to us. You are living in imagination. God means only a kind of imagination, and leaving this world of reality, you are running after that. The world of soul. But the higher standard people, the devotees, they know the value of sacrifice for the absolute. So sacrifice is innate in everyone, you can't avoid it, The parents are sacrificing for the children, then the child when it's growing up, it may be sacrificing its time and energy doing some job he or she may not like to get the money to go to university. It's all sacrifice. Sacrifice is innate in the soul. The soul is actually a unit of sacrifice. And it's interesting, in the Bhagavad Gita, there's a verse where Krishna says, in the beginning, I created generations of men and demigods, along with sacrifice, and said to them, be you happy by this sacrifice, because through that you'll get all good things in this life and liberation in the next. So that just shows you that sacrifice is part of the constitution of the living being. So the question then is only, what's the target of your sacrifice? Where are you going to put that sacrificial energy? In what direction? So these are people, this so-called higher standard people, devotees, they will think, to use the phrase of Hegel, that they must die to live, quote unquote, die to live. This is actually a translation from the German. It's maybe not very direct, but there's the meaning. He's taken the meaning there. By dying in one way, you can live, actually become alive and live and prosper in another way. You'll have to dissolve your whole present ego that you are a master and that you can do anything and everything. With such a wholesale death, you can peep into the other world of your soul. The Vaishnavas will appreciate this, and Avaishnavas, the non-devotees, they will disparage. They will discourage and also cast so many bad names to us. But one who is awake, who understands, he is satisfied in himself, and he won't care for these remarks, good or bad. He will think, I can feel this, I can see with my inner eye that this is true, this is good, and I must march on in this line, march onward. So, earlier here in this paragraph, the ego of being a master, that you can do everything and anything and everything. In other words, be the controller, which that's not possible, obviously we know that. Because as somebody progresses in their spiritual life, they'll come to realise more and more actually how little we have control over anything at all. I mean, even unconscious sort of activities like our digestion is going on. We have no real control over that. I mean, to some extent, according to what we eat, so on. But the actual action of digestion is going on automatically, as it were, by nature. Circulation of our blood, breathing, function of the muscles, and so forth. And if that energy is interfered with or withdrawn, you get a small bolus of air, inside your bloodstream, and it goes in your brain, boom, you have a stroke. Finished. So it's ridiculous to think we have control, really, over those things. And of course, science, modern science is trying to control everything more and more and more. Which, and we're not dissing science. Science is very good, but the thing about it is that the foundation must be there, a theistic foundation. Then you can do your scientific research into so many areas. As long as you know that the source of energy is non-material, is antimatter, is divine. Like Paramatma within the atom. So it's Paramanu's aspect of the Lord, smaller than the smallest, and the Brahman is bigger than the biggest. Brahman, 3 aspects: Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. Bhagavan's the supreme person, supreme personality of Godhead, expanded, all-permeating aspect within every atom of creation, within every jiva soul, Paramatma. And then Brahman, all pervasive. So when we just recently had Nrsimha Chaturdashi, and when Hiranyakashipu asked said to Prahlad, "You're God, Vishnu, you're telling Vishnu, what is this? Where is he? Where is he? Can't see him." And he says, "He's everywhere, Father." He goes, "Is he in this pillar?" "Yes." So with his sword he smashed the pillar. Then Lord Paramatma within every atom. So within the atom of that stone pillar, Lord came out and took this incredible form that no one had ever seen before. Is it a man? Is it a lion? And he was so angry because of his mistreatment of his devotees. So, what happened. So the thing is, we're not the controller, and we shall give value to the appreciation or otherwise of the devotees, those who've taken their stand in spiritual truth, to their remark. If they say, "This is wrong," I shall be very careful to correct myself in that matter. We are concerned about the opinion of the expert in the spiritual department. That's common sense. If you're interested in mechanics, you go to the expert in that field. Car mechanic or something. You wouldn't go to someone who's a rookie who's just finished the course and just starting. So similarly in spiritual life, we go to the expert, naturally. Or at least those who are more developed or have more experience in that area. The ordinary people's opinion has no value there. So an ordinary person giving their opinion, there is God, there's no God. How? It's not based on anything, it's just their idea or their intelligence to some extent. But if the expert puts some remark about me, I must analyse what good or bad I am doing. I shall ask for his help and I shall correct myself. From purer to purer I shall move ahead. And this is how we progress, is by correction. Selection and elimination. Selecting something higher, deeper, and eliminating the lower thing, which ultimately is where we're standing at present, because it's always higher and higher and higher. So that's progress. Darkness and light. That should be our policy. Vaishnava Pratishta. The remark of the Vaishnava will be of value to me, and not that of the ordinary people. Their opinion has no value, because they are in darkness. Yanisha Sava Bhutanam Tasyam Jagati Shamyami Jasyam Jagrati Bhutani Sanisha Pashyato Mune. Bhagavad Gita 269. That which is day for the self-controlled sage is night for all beings, and that which is day for all beings is night for the sage who sees. The materialists are awake in a particular field, and the devotees are awake in another field, the spiritual field. There's the material field, the plane of exploitation, then the spiritual field, the plane of dedication, and the plane of renunciation, 3 planes of life. We want to enter the plane of dedication. And dedication also is of 2 kinds. One, calculative, and the other is higher. It is of love and affection. Blind love, quote unquote. And that is considered to be the highest. So sometimes some person may be caught in the middle, right? Also, There may be a materialistic view of reality, or brought up with that and believing that, but then they have some spiritual awakening also, and then they're confused and they don't know what to do, and they, like Arjuna said, they'll be stuck between two worlds. They're gradually losing their interest and their connection and their investment in the material field, but they haven't got a firm footing in the spiritual. So he said to Krishna, will I perish like a cloud that's pulled in two by the wind? And Krishna says, no, don't worry. Whatever little bit of advancement you make in the spiritual, that's never lost. That's in your eternal bank account. Yes, but
sorry, could you read the last sentences? The last sentence.
After that verse. Yeah, the materialists are awake in a particular field, and the devotees are awake in another field, the spiritual field. There's the material field, the plane of exploitation, then the spiritual field, the plane of dedication, and the plane of renunciation, 3 planes of life. We want to enter the plane of dedication, and 2 kinds of dedication, calculative and spontaneous. Correct yourself. The opinion of the spiritual guardians must have some value, and we shall try to follow that. If in their view of me they see anything wrong, I shall try to give that up, to purge it out. In this way, Vaishnava Pratishta, what do they want for me? I shall aspire for that. I shall try to become that. And the ordinary people, their remark has no value at all here. Of course, this presupposes the sincerity and the level of development of that devotee who you're giving value to their opinion. They must be pure. If they have ulterior motives and are acting from a place of ego, then... So, for example, we talk about, Vaishnava aparad. It's like a big thing or an important aspect of the spiritual life, not to make offence to the Vaishnavas. There's seva aparad, offences in service, which we're probably doing all the time, consciously or unconsciously. According to the rules and regulations, if we don't know exactly what is that, or we have some idea, but who could be actually following that 100% perfectly? Even that is not possible. What to speak of in Kali Yuga? So there's seva aparad, but that is not considered so serious. It's not emphasised so much in the Vaishnava scriptures. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, when he's describing the different kinds of aparad, he doesn't pay too much attention to that, but he talks more about Vaishnava aparad. That's more serious, because it's all to do with consciousness, and that's since consciousness is what we are, then. So, but again, about that, sometimes you'd have, when I've experienced, among devotees, and then as in any family, there'll be fighting sometimes, disagreements, and then one devotee, more or less they're, contemporaries, more or less of similar level of advancement or realization, and one said to the other, "Yeah, you're making offence to me, Prabhu." This could be just a clash of egos. To be aparad, it means the lower as a crime against the higher, distinctly, and that means that as Guru Maharaj says, the portal to our spiritual development, advancement, will be closing then with that offence. So that's very dangerous, because it can block off our future development also. So one has to know what it is also in order to avoid it. And since we also don't know really about devotees, what is their level, we're really speculating on their kanishta, their madhyam, their uttam. It's best to just try to avoid offence in every case and follow the guidelines and be humble, be tolerant, and offer respects like that. Guru na sasyat, svajano na sasyat, pita na sasyat, janani na sasyat, toivang na tatsyat, napatis chasasyan, namo chedya samapetta mrityum. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.18, quote, one who cannot deliver his dependents from the path of repeated birth and death should never become a spiritual master, a father, a husband, a mother, or a worshipable demigod. We are always undergoing the mortal energy. We are a prey to that always. Who cannot relieve me from that general danger of life? He is not my own, and who can do so? He is my own. So if necessary, I can leave everyone who is of such, quote, high order, unquote, related to me, the father, my mother, my so-called spiritual guide, my husband, my worshipable god or demigod, all of them. So there's a note. Hare Krishna, welcome. Welcome.
They're coming.
Yeah. So this verse, Guru na Shashat from Srimad Bhagavatam. Does anyone know who spoke this verse? The clues in the verse, 5th canto. And what's in the 5th canto? Not the hellish planets. That's later in the 5th canto. No, that's 3rd canto. Who? Correct, yes. After Bharat Maharaj, after his experience and his dear incarnation, his next incarnation was as Jad Bharat. You know, Jad means not moving, means like dense. Like, you know, thick, yeah. So, but he was acting like that. He wasn't like that. He was acting like that so that people wouldn't annoy him and disturb him. So they think, oh, he's a crazy fellow. Or you know. But anyway, in his discussion with Maharaj Rishabdev, so appreciating the teachings of Jad Bharat, Maharaj Rishabdev this was Jad Bharat said this verse, quoted this, or said this. He said this, and it's in the Bhagavatam, yeah. So because the king was thinking, oh, I'm a king, I'm very important, so they were carrying him, on the palanquin, and one of the members was missing. It doesn't say why. Maybe he was off sick or something, or having a bad day, but he was. So it wasn't going evenly, and the king was getting very disturbed and very annoyed, chastising the carriers. So they saw this fellow, like on the side of the road, Jad Bharat. Oh, he's like a crazy man, man animal. So they pulled him in to carry it. So he was carrying, but he couldn't carry it properly because he was avoiding the ants on the road. Every time he's like stepping like this to avoid standing on the ants and joggling the palanquin. The king became very angry and chastising you, foolish man. And then he started talking to him, and after some time, Maharaj Rishabdev realised his greatness as a saint, and he came off the palanquin, made obeisances, apologised, and then a discussion they had between them, very, very enlightening, and it's in the Prapani Jivanamritam. It's quoted in there. In this chapter on pratikula vivarjanam, or rejection of the unfavourable. So to reject what is unfavourable for devotional service, even they may be by worldly estimation great and respectable, but we don't take any notice. We don't openly go out of our way to disrespect them. We may have to show the formal respect, like that. Like the example is even in Sanatana Goswami, when he was left his government service, once he got connected with Lord Chaitanya, and he had heard about Lord Chaitanya in Navadvip, and that he was like so merciful. And Rupa and Sanatan, they were very attracted by that, because they'd been rejected by Hindu society because of their association with the Mohammedan, working for the government, changed their names, and what else, I don't know, it's not mentioned, but so then they'd heard about Mahatma and they thought, yes, he's for us. He doesn't consider any distinction of people, caste, creed, colour, religion, nothing. He is merciful to everyone, and in his ranks are every kind of people without distinction. And also he saved Jaga and Madai. They heard about that. That was a big thing. So they wrote to him a few times. I didn't get a reply. But lastly they got a short note came back. It was brought by somebody from Lord Chaitanya, and he quoted some verse from somewhere, maybe some ancient Purana or scripture, but the verse is saying a lady, a woman who's married but has a paramour, she's very diligently doing her household duties while thinking of the paramour. In fact, her duties would be doing it more diligently, right? Otherwise the husband may suspect something. So she's doing very nicely, but internally she's completely attached to the thinking of the paramour. So this example, and from that, they understood. He's blessing them that he will come to them in the future. So when they met him, they literally fell down like that, flat, with literally straw in their teeth. It's supposed to be a symbol of humility, to be like lower than the straw. So you put the grass in your mouth and you go like that. And then what happened, the story. But so that's rejection of the unfavourable for the service of the Lord. Oh yeah, the point being that we should also sometimes have to show formal respect. So when Sanatana Goswami left his government duties and he was staying at home, and of course he had a nice house because he was a respectable job in the government, he was being given nice accommodation. So he was inviting the Brahmins, Hindu Brahmins there, and they were he was reading the Bhagavatam, they were discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, and the king didn't know where he was, but he found out he was staying at home, so he came there with some attendants. And when he came in, everybody stood up, of course, in respect. They didn't think, oh, he's a malecha, he's a meat-eating person, or anything like that. So it's normal to show that to a respectable person, but you don't follow their guidance or their advice. Anyway, the king was annoyed because he asked him to come back, because he was actually dependent on him. He was a very good, minister of the treasury. So he wouldn't come back.
It's like a very high position.
High position, yeah.
Imagine if Rishi Sunak decided to resign due to his health.
Yeah.
And then just withdraw and study Bhagavatam with a bunch of
yeah. Yeah, Sanatana Goswami, it seems he was the elder brother of Rupa Goswami, and Rupa saw him as his senior, as his brother, elder brother, and also guru. So Sanatana Goswami, he was from the beginning. He was had a very respectable position, and Lord Chaitanya saw him like that. And Sanatana Goswami sometimes was very unsatisfied with that, because he saw how he was dealing with other devotees, like Jagadananda, who was sometimes doing very wrong things, and was even sometimes chastising Mahaprabhu, and that was upsetting, the other devotees. But Mahaprabhu he wasn't offended, because he had a close relationship with him. And of course we hear that Jagadananda is Satyabhama in Dwarka, whose relation with Krishna is very oppositional. So, but Sanatana Goswami was not satisfied. He said, you show him so much affection that you're just chastising him, and all the time. But me, you just show respect all the time. Yeah, it's like this. He didn't like that, in one way. But he was sent to Vrindavan, Sanatana Goswami, because he was Mahaprabhu had faith that he would represent him properly in a place where it's exclusive Radha Krishna worship. Radhe, Vrindavan, right? So that's Krishna's field and Radharani's place, really, not Mahaprabhu, in the general sense, as understood by people. So, not to clash with the local people. So Sanatana Goswami was dealing very nicely with them, respectfully. But when Jagadananda went there, he finally got permission from Mahaprabhu, reluctantly, because he didn't want him to go there and make disturbance. So he'd be telling, just leave everything and just worship Mahaprabhu, like that. So, anyway, he said you can go, but he gave him some conditions. Don't go on Govardhan Hill, don't walk on Govardhan Hill, and don't stay a long time there, a few days only, and always work under the guidance of Sanatana Goswami there while you're there. So that was the thing. And then there's the example in what's the book? Jagadananda's book, Prema Vivata, that when Sanatana Goswami wanted to see his devotion for Mahaprabhu, was it real, or how was it? So then one day, Sanatana Goswami put a turban on his head, like a very dark red, like Mayavadi colour, and he put it on his head, and he was just casually there doing things. And Jagadananda came in and he said, you look different. So where did you get that? And someone said, there's one Swamiji, Babaji there, who was famous in the area. He was like, Mayavadi guy. He gave it to me. So, and then Jagadananda became enraged, He picked up a pot and was running to Sanatana to hit him with the pot. And Sanatana went, whoa, And he was very satisfied, to see his attachment to Mahaprabhu. He couldn't tolerate that, what to speak of Mayavadi. So that's in Prapanijivanamartam, in the chapter on rejecting the unfavourable, Pratikula Vivarjanam. And in where that appears, in Prapanijivanamartam, Srila Maharaj has given the introductory line explaining the essential meaning of the verse. When the traditional guru and guardians are found to be unfavourable, they too must surely be abandoned. And his explanatory translation of the verse is given as follows: one who cannot save other souls from the world of impending death, that is, one who cannot teach the path of devotion, he cannot be a teacher, although he may be called guru. He cannot be a relative, he's not worthy of the designation. He cannot be a father, he's not qualified to beget a son. She cannot be a mother, she should not bear a child. He cannot be a god. The demigods who cannot deliver others from material bondage are not entitled to accept worship from human society. And he cannot be a husband, his hand is not fit to accept in marriage. And then I've just written here, this is one out of many verses of Srimad Bhagavatam which impress upon us unequivocally the extreme rarity, importance and value of human birth in this world and the seriousness with which it should be taken. One is reminded of Sri Krishna's description of the process of deity worship to Uddhava, his dear devotee, shortly before the Lord's leaving the material world, along with the entire Yadu dynasty, just at the end of Dwapara Yuga. After describing the process of worship, the Lord says one should finally stand before the Lord, the deity, with folded hands and pray, "O Lord, please protect me. I am very fearful of this material existence, standing as I am within the jaws of death." Mouth of death, or jaws of death.
Maharaj, is it mentioned what's the number of that verse? Fifth canto. Because it says which.
Yeah, 5:18. And then going this now chapter 3, the vision of faith. Lighthouses in the ocean of faith. And Sripad says, though the Lord, the object of our heart's faith, is of infinite character, still some conceptions about him have been given by the men of experience who are living in the ocean of faith. Imagine that, living in the ocean of faith. We maybe sort of think, oh, I have some faith, like faith is over there and I'm here, and I'm, touching it sometimes maybe. But to live in the ocean of faith, to live in the faithful plane, the plane of faith, extraordinary. That's the real Vaishnava, isn't it? In that ocean, many have their own experiences, and these have been recorded. Through their help we may approach him. So he's saying, though the Lord is infinite, so it's not like, oh, the Lord's infinite, so anybody's opinion is the same as anybody else's, because you can't really say anything about him because he's infinite. No, the opinions of those who are living in the ocean of faith to that infinite Lord is very valuable. Is more valuable, so... Like so many lighthouses, with their particular realizations, they may help us. But that help must be bona fide and not mere concoction or imitation. Imitation is to take the experience of this world, these mortal things, and to thrust that into the world of faith. So we've got to start off from the basis of not using our own experience here, and then relating that to the world of faith and Christian consciousness, and saying, well, how does that relate to my experience? It's not, it's a different thing. It's a separate plane altogether. If that will come down, reveal itself, then, of course, some analogies are given. It's by analogy sometimes. The spiritual world is like this. Or, Bhagavan is like the sun. Because, all the rays of the sun, and then in the rays are many molecules of sunshine, then Jiva soul is like one of those molecules of sunshine. So like that. But it's a material analogy. It's not that. It's just to give us some idea, some reference point to maybe think about it. So very carefully, and only through the line of the reliable sadhu, saint, we are to approach the higher realm. That is sadhu sangha. We must be careful to know what are the qualifications of a sadhu, their symptoms, as well as what should be the nature and the attitude of the inquirer are given in the scripture. So both things, the sadhu has some qualification, but also so does the inquirer. There's a way to be and a way to inquire, not just idle curiosity. I wonder what the sadhu says about this, but not really. There's no faith connection there, right? Because in Bhagavad Gita, it's tadvidi pranipatena, pariprashnena sevaya. So the first thing is to pariprashna, to bow down, to surrender, and then inquire, submissively inquire for one's gain, one's spiritual benefit. It's not just like information gathering, data gathering, and then you've got that in your bag and you go off and you do whatever with it. So qualification of the inquirer as well as of the teacher. And we must know how faith is to be real and how faith is to work when we are in this material, unconscious world. The most important thing we are to remember is that the object of our heart's faith, the Absolute, he is of subjective character. He can be kind to us, he can be affectionate to us, and he can guide us. He's not unconscious. He's not like a principle, just existing coldly in outer space. Like I speak to this gentleman. I'm not saying this is necessarily the conception of all of Islamic faith or understanding, but I just said to this man one day about Allah, Allah, just in a shop or office or something. So I said, well, is your conception that you actually have a relationship with Allah? He said, oh no, not like that. Just Allah's just there, and we're here, and we have to follow the rules that He's given. So no, He's a subjective character. He can be kind to us, be affectionate to us, and guide us. That the Lord can come to us, this is a very fundamental and substantial point to understand. The validity of the revealed truth stands on this very foundation. It's not that only by some ascending method we shall approach Him, but He can come down to our level and make Himself known to us. It's only through faith that we can come to this understanding that the transcendental substance, the object we are seeking through faith, He is endowed with all power and all consciousness, and He is kind, benevolent and sweet. He is higher than us, infinitely higher, and our existence is infinitesimal, a much lower thing in comparison to Him. So our attitude towards Him should be of a corresponding nature. What will be the real symptom of the inquirer, the disciple? Who is a real devotee, a seeker after truth? What is his qualification, his attitude, his nature? That is given in the scripture, as well as the qualification of the guru, the guide. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshana. Bhagavad Gita, you know the verse? Anyone?
18. Say it again. Say the verse.
Tadvidi pranipatena. There's more towards the early part of the Gita. So the clue is like how the person is going to get transcendental knowledge. What chapter is that? It's called Transcendental Knowledge, Divya Jnanam, the yoga of transcendental knowledge.
I know the meaning, but I don't know.
Huh?
I know the meaning. But
In the chapter. Fourth chapter. 434. That's a very famous verse. You will be able to attain knowledge by satisfying the Divine Master with submission, relevant inquiry and sincere service. So it's said right there, you will attain knowledge by satisfying them. Yeah? The enlightened souls who are learned in scriptural knowledge and endowed with direct realization of the Supreme Absolute Truth will impart divine knowledge to you. So it's a transfer of consciousness. Like water flows downwards from up to down. So that sluice gate will be opened when the disciple is sincere, having these qualifications, and if the teacher is bona fide. So the teacher, the master, must have both knowledge and realization, and the student will be submissive, inquiring, and ready to render service. Then the transaction between them will be bona fide. So the whole thing rests on this, otherwise if we don't really understand this or get this, there's no foundation of spiritual life. It's just like, in general, people, it's kind of, everyone thinks something, and everyone has an opinion. And we just look at the opinions and we compare them, we think, well, that sounds probably the best one. Sort of democratic principle, you know. But it's not like this. Krishna is not a democrat, he's an autocrat. It's not like by number of votes, by enough people agreeing on something together, oh, that must be true, that must be right, that's the way to go. No. Like Guru Maharaj said, even if I'll stick with the teachings of my Guru Maharaj, even if the whole world is against me, like that. And just have that kind of a... And otherwise it will be a false transaction, and that will not have any value. It will be a waste of energy. Yeah, there's notes on that. Okay, about the importance of the Guru. Faith does not allow us to believe that we are at liberty to think anything and everything. There is some guidance from above. The real transaction where that is possible will mean this, that guidance shall come from above. So the most essential thing, the very nature of Shraddha, faith, is that it is approaching toward the higher subject. In every way it wants to approach him, to approach that higher substance, Sat, Chit, Anand. That is, in consideration of existence, Sat, in consideration of knowledge, Chit, and in consideration of affection and love, Anand. These 3 points, the 3 requirements as the goals of our existence, will be highly satisfied by the search through Shraddha, faith. So we talk about the soul, subjective existence of our soul. I exist and I know that I exist, right? Because if I didn't exist, how could I be asking the question? You know, like, okay, so I exist and God exists. Okay, but God is super subjective. So he has a subjective existence, you know, just as we can know ourselves as conscious beings, also he can, but he's super subjective. So in relation to him, our subjectivity is gross. You know, just like as subjects, we can look at the material elements, earth, water, fire, air, and we are above them, quote unquote, as conscious beings. Okay, so therefore, of course, the tendency in the material is to exploit them, right? Because the above, in the conditioned world, the above wants to exploit the lower. It's unavoidable. So in relation to the Lord, our existence is gross compared to him. But we want to be exploited by him. We pray to be exploited by him. That's Yoga Maya, isn't it? If you're exploited by something bad, that's very bad. It'll have a bad effect on you. If you're exploited by absolute love and beauty and sweetness and charm and greatness and consciousness and anand, that's the best thing that's possible to be.
Fulfillment of life's purpose.
Yes.
In a way.
Yes. So like Guru Maharaj says, Sat, Chit, Anand is complete only in Krishna consciousness. Because Sat, you can realize your existence as eternal different ways, through yoga, practice, maybe through analysis, through Gyan or Sankhya to some degree. So, okay, I exist. My existence is unassailable. I exist as an eternal being. But unless I'm conscious of that fact, my existence has no value. Like a stone exists, but if it's not aware of its existence, then what's the value of that consciousness, right? But that's not also complete. So I know I exist, I'm conscious of my existence, but there is some purpose also for my existence, not just to be conscious of it. Oh, that's Atma Gyan, right? Takes us to the plane of renunciation and Brahman realization. But to be the purpose of my existence is Anand, is to feel beauty, love, sweetness. So that's the complete package, Sat, Chit, and Anand. As the Guru Maharaj says, every nerve of our soul will be satisfied by Krishna consciousness. And so faith always asks us to approach the higher, not the lower. He, my guardian, is higher, is superior. So imagine the concept of you can get fulfillment in life by serving and not by enjoying, as in exploiting. So you have to serve the higher to have fulfillment. And exploiting the lower, you may get some temporary sense, pleasure or enjoyment or happiness, but it's not of any real ultimate substance. It's also reactionary, or bring reaction also. The scientific brain is always searching for some object which it can command and can utilize. But proper faith, Shraddha, is always connected with a substance which is higher in all respects than the searcher, the inquirer himself. When the knowledge gained from experience stops, then faith arises. Experience, knowledge, is what we may acquire, and we are a subject in relation to it. But in relation to faith, we are the object. When faith awakens, we shall try to understand that we are not subject, but object in relation to that. So this is, again, a very sort of primary understanding of the whole thing, Sambandha Gyan we're talking about. Okay, then he's quoting some verses about the importance of guidance and the Guru from Mundaka Upanishad, Srimad Bhagavatam. And we should be very attentive to all these points. We should search ourselves whether we are really approaching properly with real faith. Is it proper faith or is it credulity? They are not the same. Is it real faith or is our faith adulterated? We have to consider this. There are symptoms of real faith and we have to search these out for our guidance. This is extremely important. Because we are dissatisfied with our present acquisition and we are taking a risk to jump towards a higher prospect, a higher way, so we must be very attentive that we are taking proper guidance as far as is possible by us. I mean, as far as is possible, because it's always possible for us to make mistakes as conditioned beings, imperfect beings.
Maharaj, what is credulity?
Oh, credulity is just like blind faith, you know, without any basis, you know. Oh, is that... Do we carry on or... Faith and reason. Just let me know. Though we are told that our present reasoning ability is not sufficient to take us up to our highest prospect, and that beyond our reason, Shraddha, faith, is necessary, still, as far as possible, we will utilize our reasoning and understanding in our search. When I first came to the mission, the Gaudiya Mat, I heard from the devotees, Aprakrit Vastu Nahi Prakrita Gochar, that the transcendental subject does not come within the grasp of material intelligence. Yeah, that's the verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Aprakrit Vastunai Prakrita Gochar Veda Purane Te E Kohi Niranta. Spiritual substance is never within the jurisdiction of the material conception. This is always the verdict of the Vedas and Puranas. And I thought, yes, it is so, but still, when I want to throw myself into this association, as far as possible, I shall utilize my reasoning and intelligence to understand this very point. Because now I'm going to jump into something which is beyond my control and calculation. So in other words, your reasoning and your intelligence can take you to the ultimate understanding that I can't know that with my reasoning and intelligence. And even if we are proceeding properly, there may be some obstacle in the way. Some unknown hindrance may come to trouble us and delay our advancement. But still we will do our best to always carefully maintain our faith. Like, for example, we mentioned before about those who have no faith will disparage and discourage. Oh, it's all rubbish, this Christian consciousness. It's all imagination, pie in the sky. Get with the real world, So that can be a disturbance. So to avoid the asat sangha chage Vaishnava achar, avoid that bad association. That could be the materialistic worldview, as like that. Also the monistic, impersonalist view, to the other extreme. There's no spirit, no such thing as spirit, but there's only spirit, with no individuation. There's nothing, just one thing. So to avoid those. We may see that there are many around us of our own group who are falling while attempting to approach the same goal. Some are falling down next to us, but we must continue to stand. When we are proceeding in an organized way, in an association, many things are possible. Some are standing, some falling down, others taking rest or falling back, and some are leaving the campaign altogether. So many things are occurring around us, but still we should go forward. And for that, what will be our capital? How will I go forward when I find that so many cannot? That is depending on our faith. We'll have to collect so much faith and so much goodwill, and that is our capital. Many of us began together on this path of advancement, and now so many are going back. But I shall have to go ahead. I shall have to consolidate and strengthen my energy and go forward, alone if necessary. Our faith should be so strong, so solid and substantial. Alone I shall go. Whatever difficulties I may find on my way, I must cross over them by the grace of my Lord. Yeah. Are you ready? Okay. There's lots more we can say. We're only just starting on that chapter, but join. Hare Krishna, Hare
Prabhu Nityananda
Jai. 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 Jai.